Today's podcast episode is definitely one you are going to want to share with a friend if you know somebody who is struggling with hair loss, or if you know somebody who regularly puts things on their scalp or on their hair, like chemical relaxers, or that gets like tight braids, because we are talking today about hair loss, and we are talking with Kellie Ryhmes. She is a women's hair loss support coach, and I have my cat here who just really wants to be a part of the podcast today. I need you to get down, honey. Thank you. We talked about a certain type of hair loss. The acronym is CCCA. I have put the name of it in the show notes, and it's also in the video when we talk about it. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce. It's like centrifugal cicatricial alopecia. The third word is one that I'm not sure how to say it. However, it's a type of alopecia that comes from just years of using chemical relaxers, having really tight braids, and maybe even heavy hair extensions. And it mostly just affects women of color. When I looked it up, I saw some information about how this has first been noticed in African American women. And so there's part of this conversation where we really talk about just beauty standards and how a lot of African American women, this is obviously so much better now, but in the past it was worse. A lot of African American women are not supported enough to embrace their natural hair. So that was definitely a part of the conversation as well. And so if any of that resonates with you or with someone that you know, please share that video with them so that they can get a piece of Kellie's glow and Kellie's inspiration. I really do think that having these conversations out in the open is so helpful, because hair loss for women is something that we can really go through very secretively, because we have wigs, we have sprays, we have all these things that can cover up stuff so that you go through this thing alone, and you don't have to be alone. There are support groups out there and so many things, and you're going to hear just an inside look on Kellie's own journey, what she did, how she helps people one-on-one. And I've been talking a lot, so let me just introduce you to Kellie. Kellie Rhymes is a confident bald woman who has overcome her own struggles with hair loss to help other women facing similar challenges. She's a certified transformational practitioner, and through her one-on-one coaching program, Limitless Mindset Coaching, she guides women through building their confidence and embracing themselves for who they are, and helps them overcome any other emotional challenges holding them back from being their true selves. Kellie has personally experienced the transformative power of building herself up and has learned to let go of negative self-talk and fears about how others perceive her. Kellie now walks with confidence and receives compliments and admiration from strangers. She is dedicated to helping other women feel free and empowered to be their true and authentic selves. And in this conversation, you are going to be walked through the inside look of Kellie's journey with her hair loss. And we address topics like authenticity, beauty standards, and even that unique experience of being a woman of color or being a hair type that is often forgotten about when it comes to shampoo companies, like making things that are only beneficial for one type of hair type, and only one type of hair type being quote unquote beautiful. Like I said, again, that has definitely gotten so much better over the years, but we talk about that, and I think that's an important thing to address. I hope that you enjoy today's episode with Kellie. I hope that it helps you embrace your own natural beauty and accept all of the parts of yourself, and to really just see that even though we are all different and we all look different, it is all beautiful because it is how we were made. I love that. That's a really good one. Good for grounding. I'm recording already.
Perfect.
Welcome to Openly Spoken, the podcast to help you show up, speak out, and be seen. On this podcast, we talk about self-love, relationships, sexuality, spirituality, and more. Hi, I am your host, Celia Antonio, and I am a relationship and sexuality coach for ambitious women with a history of toxic relationships who desire to reconnect to their sensuality and who desire to feel worthy of receiving healthy love. I celebrate you for hitting play on today's episode. I hope that you find this very supportive and helpful. And if you could show some support to the podcast by hitting subscribe on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, wherever it is that you are listening to or watching this episode, it would mean the absolute world to me. Thank you so much for being here. Now let's dive into today's episode. Thank you, Kellie, for being here. I'm so excited to connect with you today.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah. You have this like glow about you that I just love so much. Like as I was getting ready, because it's like 8:30 in the morning for me right
Okay.
now. As I was getting ready, I was just like really excited to connect with you again.
Yes.
And I feel like it's this glow that you have about you. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I'm glowing. Look, I don't know what it is either. Maybe it's just the confidence, but hey, I'm taking it.
I also, in preparation for today's call, was kind of just like Googling women who have shaved all their hair off or women who have chosen to just unapologetically and confidently be bald.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they all have this like glow about them. Have
It's
you noticed that?
yeah, it's a freedom. That's what it is. It's like relief because
Yeah.
depending on their journey or what they experienced that caused them to shave their hair off, they went through something. And to shave your hair off is the liberation of it all. And to
Mm,
have that freedom of like, I'm finally done. I don't have to worry about it, whatever that may be.
yes.
It's just a weight off your shoulders.
Yes. So what was that journey like for you? I'd love to hear about it.
Well, for me, realistically, it was a long journey. So I'll start at the beginning when I first started noticing my hair loss.
Hmm.
I started noticing it in my late 20s, and I was getting my hair styled because I had locks. So my
Okay.
cousin was doing my hair and she noticed a small bald spot at the top of my head. So we were like, okay, well, let's just watch it and maybe, it'll grow back in. Maybe we're pulling too much. It's too much tension on my scalp. Well, that didn't happen. So my hair continued to shed, get thinner, and I would have different bald spots even after I took my locks out. So I eventually went to a dermatologist to find out what was going on. And he told me I have alopecia. And the form of alopecia that I have is called scarring alopecia. That's the nickname. But the acronym is CCCA. It's this complicated name that I cannot pronounce. But that's the acronym for CCCA. And it comes from styling practices and harsh chemicals and different things that you use on your hair.
Yeah.
So that is what caused my form of alopecia. Now, to take you through the whole journey, I'll give you just like a timeline. It really was a span of at least about 18, probably, no, not 18. I'm not going to give myself that much. I'm going to say maybe about 14 or 15 years of me going down this route of being in denial about my hair loss, being
Mm,
frustrated because I'm trying to figure out things to do to get my hair to grow back because, again, I was in denial. So even though the dermatologist was like, your hair is not growing back, you have this form of alopecia, in my mind, I'm still like, no, I can still do something to get my hair back, because it was a part of my identity. Hair
yeah.
is a part of all of our identities, right?
Yeah, it is.
So I was like, I'm going to go see if I can get hair transplants. I could do something. I went down that route and I was told I am not a candidate for hair transplants because of the type of alopecia that I have. So
I
whenever
didn't know
you
that
have,
was a thing.
yeah, I didn't either. So
Wow.
when you have scarring alopecia, you cannot get hair transplants because basically what will happen is they'll transplant the hair and it'll fall right back out. So it'll
Oh,
be a waste of money.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm glad that the doctor told me that and didn't just waste or take my money and have me waste it because, they're
Yeah.
trying to make a dollar. I'm glad he was honest and was like,
Yeah.
no, we're not going to do this. This is not going to work. I mean, of course he was like, it's still up to you, but I'm telling you, it's not going to work. So I
Hmm.
was like, okay, we're going to leave this alone. So at that point, that's when I had to just go ahead and start going down a different route of, okay, this is not coming back. My hair is not coming back. What am I, I'm not going to be able to do anything else about this. I continued to wear wigs after that because at
Okay.
that point I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't, I wasn't confident to shave my hair off.
Hmm.
So I just continued to wear wigs until I started working on myself and building my confidence up and getting comfortable with who I am and loving myself more. And then at that point, I was ready to cut it off. And that was in
Mm,
2019. So I
okay.
shaved it off to this look in 2019. And I've been this way ever since.
So would you, when you said that you would work on yourself, would you like in private have the wig off and like
Well,
just like
so
look in the mirror and like be with what comes up, or what did that look like?
So realistically, I didn't have a problem seeing myself, without
Okay.
the wig on. So when I was at home, the wig was off. It was,
Okay.
that wasn't a big deal for me. It
Hmm.
was a big deal for other people to see me with my wig off. That was the
Mm,
challenge and the problem. So I had to really say, okay, let's stop here. And the first thing I did was I cut my hair really, really short. So
okay.
even though I had hair
Eased
loss,
into it.
yeah, I eased into it. I cut it really, really short, like a little boy cut. And I
Hmm.
used hair fibers to cover up the bald or the thinning spots. So it was just like a little cut. And I wore it
What is
like
that?
that
Hair
for a while.
fibers? Like you're like gluing eyelashes on your head?
No, not quite. But so there's a technique to this. What it is that you put a spray, like an adhesive spray.
Okay.
So it reminds you of a spritz or a
Okay.
holding spray, right? So I would spray that in and then I would put the hair fibers in the spots and kind of make sure it looks even and
Hmm.
then let that dry. So then that, made the hair fibers stick. And then I
Hmm.
would spray it again with hairspray again to make it stick even further. So it was a little trick
Yeah.
that I had
Wow.
it. And trust me, I came up with a lot of tricks to camouflage my hair loss. I have a lot. But that is what I did. And I started going out just wearing my hair like that, getting comfortable with, the shortcut because I knew I was going to get attention. When you cut your hair off,
Yeah.
especially when it's bald, you're going to
Yeah.
get attention as a woman.
Yeah. As a
So I
woman,
just
for
eased
sure.
into it. And then just really worked on my mindset. That was another key part of it, working on my mindset to build myself up to say, okay, you know, get ready for the attention, get used to the attention, embrace it, embrace who you are, know you're
Mm,
beautiful, and just like really get comfortable with that. That was a process in itself as well.
that makes so much sense then where that like glow comes from, because there's just so much you have to overcome. Like you have to be open to receiving all of that attention and be
Mm-hmm.
okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
And even be okay with it when the attention isn't so positive. Like if some people are like, "Oh, do you have cancer?" or like whatever it is that they're saying, like, "Are
Mm-hmm.
you going through your 2007 Britney Spears moment? Like what's happening?"
Exactly. You have to be prepared. I don't tell women to like be ready to be on guard. No, don't approach life like
Yeah.
that. Just
Yeah.
know, I want them just to be confident enough to say if those things were to occur, to take it
Mhm.
with grace. Like
Mm,
that person, maybe they just don't understand, don't know that maybe an educational moment. Or just
mhm.
maybe if you don't feel like doing all of that educating, just whatever, let it go. I'm beautiful. Like whatever response you need
Yeah.
to have to that, that's fine. But you still have to be prepared for that. Because if you're not prepared mentally for someone to come at you that way, that will ruin like your whole day, week, whatever. That will
Yeah.
totally, totally set you back. So we have to get you to the point to where those things don't bother you at all.
Yeah. Yeah. So then what was it like the first time you walked into a room bald?
Well, let me think. Look, I have to really remember what it really felt like. When I think I have to think about when people I know first saw
Yeah.
me. So
Okay.
it really wasn't walking into the room because when I cut my hair off for the second time, this look, I
Uh,
was actually by myself. I was living in the city. I didn't have my friends and family there. So I had to send everybody a picture and show them what it was and what I looked like. And everyone loved it. All of my people loved it because they knew what I had been going through. They knew what I
uh,
had experienced and they wanted me to cut it off a long time ago, but I wasn't ready. There was one other time I cut my hair off because I had to out of necessity. And it was just not a good experience for me. But everyone kept saying, "But just cut it back off. It was you were so beautiful." And but I didn't feel that way. So
Yeah.
it was a difference. But this time, the second time, I had already built myself up, worked on myself. So I was that confident person to be like, yeah, I am beautiful. I do love this. I am embracing it. So it was a totally different experience.
Oh, it sounds like you have a very good support system. I love that.
Yes, I do have some
Yeah,
great people in my life.
that's great. Yeah. So, in preparation for this conversation, I was Googling just like how common is it for women to experience hair loss?
Hmm.
And I know there are many different reasons for hair loss, but I found that, what was it, 1/3? I found something that said like 1/3 of women experience alopecia at some point in their life, according to Harvard Health.
Okay,
And like, that's a lot. And
that
I'm
is.
sure most of those women are experiencing hair loss in secret with
Yes.
wigs, weaves, hair fibers, and other forms.
Yes.
So, if any of those women are listening right now, what would you say to them?
Well, first of all, hair loss can come from a lot of different sources. Like you can be malnutrition and experience hair
Mm,
loss.
yeah.
Hormonal imbalances can cause your hair to come out. Like so just
Hmm.
understand that you may not have this big thing happening within yourself or your body that's causing the hair loss. It could be something small, it could be something simple. So the first step is to find out what is happening with you or within your body that is causing the hair loss so that you can
Yeah.
address that. That's the first step. And yes, most women are going to do this in silence or they're not going to talk much about it because it's devastating. It's a shock when you start seeing your hair coming out or it's thinning really really bad.
Hmm.
That's like jolting to women and I think men too. I mean, I'm only
Yeah,
speaking
for
from
sure.
a woman's
Yeah.
perspective, right?
My husband's like, "Ah, my hairline
Yeah.
is starting to recede just a little." I'm like, it's like a fourth of an inch. And he's like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we all feel
So
it.
exactly. So just really finding out what's happening with you. Go and see if you can solve it. It could just be like you need to take some vitamins and minerals just to get you up and going again. So
Yeah.
that would be the first step. Don't suffer in silence. Talk to people. Even if you don't want to talk to people you know, there are so many support groups out here. There are Facebook groups. There are support groups for foundations that specialize or focus on hair loss, any form of hair loss. It could be alopecia areata or scarring alopecia, or it could be hair loss from chemo treatments. Like there are all types of groups out there that are there to support you, provide you information, and
Hmm.
uplift you and give you information. Because even in some of those Facebook groups, you can just ask a question, and women will definitely hop in and be like, well, "This is what I did," or "This is what I used," or and they will give
Yeah.
you the feedback you need. So make sure you reach out for that support.
Yeah. We live in such a abundant time when it comes to getting support, especially in
Yes,
Facebook groups are like amazing. Even like Reddit boards. I don't know if you ever go on Reddit and ask a question there. Like you
I've
can
seen it
find
on Google.
advice. You've seen it on Google. Yeah, it ranks on Google. It definitely does.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what you said too about like don't suffer in silence because I think when the suffering in silence happens, stress and anxiety comes up and then it
Mhm.
probably makes the situation worse. Like for me, I have struggled with hair falling out in large amounts when I was in my mid 20s. And for me, it was because I was in this long term relationship for 6 years. And like, I was not happy towards the end. And I like knew I had to leave, but I just couldn't speak my truth. And I
Mhm.
guess that created a ton of stress in my body. And so my hair was falling out. But then the stress about my hair falling out, I feel like caused this kind of like
More
loop.
stress. Uh-huh. Yep,
It's like
exactly.
the hair's falling out even more. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so when you first started seeing all of that hair come out, what was your first reaction?
I'm going to be bald.
See? And that's
Yeah.
like it goes to the extreme. Like we
Yeah.
always go to the extreme. Like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm panicking.
Yeah.
What is happening here? Yeah, that's the first thing. So we have to get that under control. Take a step back and breathe. Breathe.
Yeah.
And that's when I say, hey, pause. Let's figure out what's happening. Yours was stress, right? So now you knew, okay, I got to get out of this situation. I have to reduce my stress levels. And once you did that, what happened?
I don't remember, but like I don't struggle with hair loss now, so
So
it
there
helped.
definitely was a change, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's
It may have
also so
taken some
many.
time.
What'd you say?
It may have taken some time, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, you solved that problem, right? So here we go.
Mm-hmm. And then when it gets to a certain point where it's better, it doesn't take up space in your mind anymore.
Exactly.
So then that helps. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna ask you something and it just like the question floated out of my brain.
That happens to me all the
Yeah, it
time. So
happens
don't
to me all
worry.
the time too.
Don't worry.
I'm like, bye, thought. See you later.
You'll come back around. It'll come
Yeah,
back.
yeah, he'll come back around. There are also so many habits that we do with our hair that, like, something that comes up for me at least is like pulling your hair back in a tight bun.
Yeah.
Or, like, even to speak to your unique experience of being like a woman of color,
Hmm.
there's this like beauty standard that I see, like, my friends of color who it's like, you have to manipulate your hair to look like a white person's hair, to be like straight and shiny, and like there's not that it's better now, but there's not that big of an embrace of the natural curl, the natural kinkiness of the hair.
Hmm.
And yeah, can you speak to that experience?
Yes, definitely. So realistically, that is what caused my hair loss because remember I talked about earlier the chemicals, the
Yeah.
harsh styling practices. Well, getting the relaxers when I was younger and straightening my hair, that is definitely what caused the damage. I know that I'm not going to blame it all on that, but I know for certain a big part of it was because
Yeah.
of that. Now, and I'm not the only woman of color who is experiencing this. This is
Yeah.
a big thing. As far as that scarring alopecia, most of the time, and you can look it up, majority of the women who have scarring alopecia are women with color because
Yeah.
of
Makes
the
sense.
products, right?
Yeah.
So now,
And you
and I
start
was,
at a young age, no? Sometimes I've heard of like 8-year-old girls having
yes.
relaxers.
So it was now it's better. Trust me, it's
Okay.
way better than when I was younger. When I was younger, and I'm in my 40s. So
Hmm.
when I was younger, straightening your hair was a rite of passage. That was the thing to do. Whether you were getting it pressed and get it straightened out with a pressing comb, and that was how
Yeah.
we started, and
Yeah.
then you graduated to a relaxer. So it was,
How old are you when you started straightening your hair?
man, I had to get the hot comb or the pressing comb. I was probably at least 4 or 5 years old.
Whoa, that
Yeah.
is so young. I didn't
Yeah.
think it'd be that young.
Yeah. Definitely. Like
Wow.
that's the first thing we used to do when back
Yeah.
then you like Easter Sunday or going to church or any special
Hmm.
occasion. Oh, you're getting your hair pressed out. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that young, and then I probably was in junior high school. So I probably was around 11 when I got a relaxer for the first
Hmm.
time, something around
Okay.
there.
That's still
So I'm
pretty
probably
young
around
to
11.
get chemicals on your scalp.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but again, yes, going back to the point of the beauty standard, that was the beauty standard back then. Now
Hmm.
it has gotten better. I would say in the mid 2000s, that's when embracing our natural hair became more popular because there were more products created for our hair
Yeah.
because we didn't know we couldn't use certain hair products like certain
Mm.
shampoos that have the sulfates in them. And I don't think that's just African Americans or women of color. I think that's in general. You shouldn't be using shampoo with
Yeah.
sulfates, but we
Yeah.
didn't know it, right? That
Yeah.
came later. So we were using these shampoos and all of these hair products that had these chemicals in it that we just did not know we weren't supposed to be using. Now
Hmm.
that women have embraced more natural looks and it's more acceptable in society as far as women of color wearing their natural hair, it's much better. But I can tell you in the early 2000s, when I first took those locks out and tried to wear my hair natural, I didn't even know how to style my hair because it had always been straightened. I didn't know how to style my natural hair. I didn't know how to
Wow.
comb it. I didn't
Yeah.
know anything about my natural hair. Now
Wow.
that's how crazy it was. And I'm not the only one.
Yeah. That
So
is
I
wild.
Yeah, I had to definitely go to YouTube University and start looking up videos to figure out how to comb my hair without it breaking off, how to style it in its natural state so it looked nice and neat, because I was still going to work in corporate America. So I still had to
Mm-hmm.
present myself in a certain type of way
Mm,
and look professional, but I didn't know what to do. So it was definitely a challenge. I got the hang of it, and like I said earlier, when I could tell you I know some tricks and tips about covering up hair loss, I know it because I have done it for myself.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm glad that the beauty standards have changed. I'm glad more women are embracing their natural hair, because that's the thing to do. Realistically, it's healthier for yourself. And why
Yes.
can't you be who you are? Why do
Yes.
you have to alter yourself to fit into society? Why can't everybody just embrace everybody for who they are as they are?
Yeah. And that could be said about so many things within the beauty
Yes.
industry, like not just hair, like even accepting the shape of your lips or your nose or your entire body. The beauty standard I feel like I see a lot on social media at least is just not natural at all.
No, I think things have gotten out of control. Really, they
Yeah.
have. And
Yeah.
I know, like, when I speak to my partner, my spouse, he's like, I would rather have a natural woman versus a woman who has all of these things that women are doing. These, I mean, from the eyelashes, like you said, to the
Yeah.
nose, to the lips, to the butts,
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
hair. It's like, oh my goodness, who are you? What do you really look like?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with women enhancing their beauty. Please
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
at all. I don't. But it's getting a little bit out of control.
Yeah. And for me, I honestly kind of view that stuff as like it's a huge time commitment. And I'm like, I don't want to spend my time doing that. Like, I'd rather be like eating a great meal or like going on vacation. Like, I don't want to be laying there for hours. Like, I've gotten my hair highlighted before, maybe like
Mhm,
3 times in my entire life.
mhm.
And I remember the first time I went, I was like so surprised that I had to be in the hair salon for 8 hours.
Oh
I'm like,
my
I've been
God.
here all day. What is this?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's getting your hair colored. So imagine when, like, you don't even have to worry about hair. You just wake up and like, okay, let me just cut it real quick. I'm out.
Yeah.
Give me 1 minute. My hair is done.
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of your favorite like sensational experiences with having a bald head? Like I can just imagine like going outside and like feeling the breeze on your whole head. Like that must feel great.
Yeah, okay, so my favorite, number one thing is the shower. Oh my
Ooh,
goodness. Getting in the shower and letting that warm water run on your head, on your scalp. It's so relaxing. It's like a little massage every day.
that
That
sounds
is my
nice.
favorite. That is my favorite. That's the next thing I would say. And again, all of this is going to be associated with water, maybe because I'm a water sign. I love water, but jumping in the ocean. That was the other
Ooh.
reason why I was like, I'm ready to do this, because I love to travel. I love the ocean. I
Hmm.
love just being and experiencing it, right? And I wanted to be able to jump in the ocean and swim and relax without worrying about my hair. Now,
Yeah.
before I was wearing the wig, so I would have to make sure I did certain things to secure it, so or make sure it didn't get submerged under the water. Like I
Oh,
really couldn't
yeah.
enjoy the water like I wanted to. So that
Yeah.
was another key thing. I'm like, nope, I just want to jump in the ocean with no hair and just be free and enjoy. And that's what I'm
Hmm.
able to do.
Yeah. That really speaks to how when we are trying to mold ourselves to fit what society says is beautiful, we're like holding back actually existing and
Yeah.
actually living and actually enjoying life.
Yes.
Because we're like, I can't fall off, rather than
Mhm.
just like dancing around, swimming around, moving around without having to worry about anything falling off.
Exactly. Exactly. And not even thinking about it. Like I'm just
Yeah.
free. I am good. If I'm walking outside and it starts raining, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. So then did you feel a shift of like, because that's a lot of energy that you're using
Mhm.
for uh, anxiety or stress. And when you let go of that, then you suddenly have that energy to bring into your life and your loved one. Did you experience anything like that?
Well, yes. When I cut it off the second time, it
Mm-hmm.
was a release. It really was a release of everything you just said, a release of the anxiety, the stress, the worry, all of that. It just went away. Now, the
Mm.
only thing I can say in the beginning, I still had to get, like, even though I liked my look, I had to, I look at myself in the mirror and I was like, okay, I'm good. But I still had to get a little bit comfortable being in public by myself and just like moving
Yeah.
around and seeing, the people looking at me. Now, again, like I said earlier, I had to prepare myself for people to look at me. But that was different when I had like a little shortcut versus a bald head, So I did have to take some time to adjust to that just a little bit, but it wasn't a big deal. I would say
Mm-hmm.
within a week, I was good. I was good. And I was like,
Well,
okay,
that's
yeah, this
great.
is me. This is my look. I embrace it. This is what I will look like for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I went with it. I just flowed from there.
I'm curious if that like inner work journey, since you said you started straightening your hair from age 4 or 5, did that inner work journey include some sort of like inner child work?
It did not. But I think that's a good point. Not for me, it didn't.
Yeah.
Because I think realistically, my issues with hair and all of the negative things associated with hair came as an adult. It didn't come from my
Okay.
childhood. It
Okay.
really didn't. When I think back at my childhood and the styling practices and everything that happened, because someone did ask me, like, do you regret straightening your hair, or are you angry with the stylist or anything like that? No, I'm not.
Yeah, you were just
People didn't
having
know.
fun, maybe.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's just really what it was in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. You didn't know what you didn't know about these hair care or these hair products. That's just all it was. It wasn't their fault. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my mom's fault. So no, I don't
Mm-hmm.
even worry about my childhood and all of that. My things came up as an adult in my self-esteem. That was
Mm.
what I had to tackle. My self-esteem and the people's reaction to me, whether they knew me or not. I was a little bit more concerned with what people thought than I should have been. So I had to get rid of that as well and just know and believe that it doesn't matter. If I love me and I like the way I look, that's all that matters. I had to get to that point. So my
Yes.
struggles came around the self-esteem and the judgment from others that I felt that I would receive.
Okay. So then what, because I know that you help other women who are also going through hair loss.
Mhm.
What similarities and differences do you see with like a majority of your clients in their journey versus yours?
Well, the similarities would be those emotional kind of stages we go through. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying everyone goes through all of these different stages, but definitely the denial. Everyone I've met and worked with, including myself, went through denial at first. And then it goes, a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people get frustrated and angry because you're trying to figure out how to solve this problem. You're going to go get natural hair products. You're going online, Googling, trying to see, well, what can I do to fix this? And nothing is working. You're spending a lot of money. Women, including myself, spent a lot of money either trying to figure out a solution from all of these things we find online that say that they're supposed to work, or spending your money covering up your hair loss. So that could be your
Mm.
wigs, that could be, everything that goes along with that wig to keep it in place, adhesives,
Mm-hmm.
all the different things. It could
Mm-hmm.
be head wraps, it could be a lot of different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So most women, those are the similarities. Now differences come up with our experiences. So women come to me for different things. So one woman may say, hey, I'm concerned because I don't think my partner is going to be attracted to me anymore because of
Mm.
my hair loss. I don't know how to handle this. That's a different experience from someone like me who wasn't worried about that. I was single at the time. I just needed to build myself up and be confident and embrace myself authentically. So those would be the differences. Everyone comes with their own journey, their own experiences. And I have to work with people on a one-on-one individual basis. So that's why I don't do group programs, because
Mm.
I
That's
can't
a good
put
point.
everybody in a box. You can't.
Yeah.
Hair loss is something very, very private, is very
Yeah.
intimate, is very specific.
Yeah, that
Now,
makes sense.
a group like a support group is one thing, but when I'm working with people, it's one on one because your journey is your journey.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes so much sense. Because like we all exist in our own bodies, and all our bodies are different, all our minds are different. We're all receiving different limiting beliefs from our environment that we grew up in. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. It's not cookie cutter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not. It's not. But I mean, I just want to support as many women as I can. Now, there are definitely women out there who already are at the point to where they're confident and they're good and they don't need any support. They may just want to be a part of a community, and that's fine. But there are also women out there who are still going through their journey
Mm.
of like experiencing this hair loss, not knowing what to do, the things they're trying not working. Those are the women that I tend to work with because they've gone through certain steps. They maybe have been dealing with hair loss for a while, and they're now finally coming to the point to where they're like, okay, look, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the wigs. I'm hot. I'm tired of, the concerns about it coming off. I've even talked to women who are like school teachers and they're scared that the kids are going to snatch their wigs off or something's going to happen. And
Man.
these are real things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
These are
gosh.
real life things. So just being able to let that go. And I'm here to help women let that go. Now, I'm not saying you have to rock a bald head. Not at all. Not saying that at all. If you choose to rock a bald head, fine. But if you choose to continue to wear your wigs or your hair wraps or whatever it is that you're doing, I'm here to support you to get you to the point to where you're comfortable enough to say, hey, this is what I'm doing today. And if I
Mm-hmm.
decide to go out tomorrow without any hair or anything on my head, I'm still confident enough to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to free yourself from the burden and
Yes.
just have joy in your life, have peace in your life, and focus on what you're on this earth to do. And
Yes.
hair is not what we need to be worried about. I know it's a big thing. I know
Yeah.
I'm not taking that away from anybody. But if you're losing your hair and you're at a point where it's not coming back and you know that, we got to take the next steps to move forward in life. I'm sorry. We have to. We can't let that keep hindering us.
Yeah, because the more we're spending our energy on like what things look like versus what they actually are,
Mm-hmm.
then how things actually are won't be in alignment with like what we actually desire our life to be like.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
hair and all beauty things are such a huge thing for women. And I mean, the only reason why it's like that is because it makes for some really good marketing for us to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not beautiful naturally. Like, okay, I'll buy your thing."
Exactly. The beauty industry is $1 billion industry. It's not going
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
But what we can do is shift our mindsets and be open to different looks and being open to being our natural selves. And again, if you want to wear makeup, wear your makeup. But can we just still look natural with our makeup? Can we still just enhance and not overdo and look at like a totally different person with our
Yeah,
makeup?
or can we feel, good also when we decide to go out without makeup? Like, do I
Yes.
have to do my makeup every time I leave the house?
Right. Is it
Yeah.
a necessity? Is it something
Yeah.
that you can't can you not step out the door without doing your hair or with your hair? Like
Yeah.
be who you are, be confident in that and
Mhm.
move forward. That's it. Like
Yeah.
we have so much to do, so much to do in our lives that we can't, like I said before, we just can't let these little things stop us.
Yeah. I think what helps with that too is like to just take a look around in like real life. Like the next time you go to the grocery store, take a look around because I think, a lot of us, we have our eyeballs on screens and
Hmm.
that's all like done up and maybe even airbrushed or filtered. And it's always very refreshing. Like I remember a couple months ago, my husband and I were on a walk in this like very populated area in Los Angeles, and it was like this beach town that we grew up in. And I told him, you know what, I haven't seen anyone walking around that like has a ton of plastic surgery on their face. Like I haven't seen any of that, and we're in Los
Really?
Angeles.
Right. That's what I'm like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you're right, that's not really a thing. Like in the area we were at, it
Hmm.
wasn't really a thing, and like we grew up there, and that was not a thing. And it was common to like go to the grocery store. If you're going early in the morning, you'll see a couple people in their pajamas because they're just like running, getting out milk real quick for
Huh?
breakfast. And
Huh?
where they're not so concerned. And that happens in Los Angeles. And meanwhile, in the media, like Los Angeles is not portrayed that way at all.
No, that's what I'm like, really? Because that is not what I see. And I've been to Los Angeles several of times.
Yeah.
But again, as a tourist, I was never, like just there as a regular person in the community, seeing the
Yeah.
different things. So, yeah, of course, my experience would be different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we're also in a shift. I think it's just in the world in general where we are really trying to be ourselves and tapping into what we like to do. So our
Mm-hmm.
genuineness, our genuine essence, I guess I should say, genuine
Yeah.
essence. A lot of people are definitely tapping into that. And I think being just authentic, being natural, being who you are, comes along with that.
Yes. I know that mindset is a big part of what you do. So, with this genuine essence piece, and also the piece about, I forget your exact words earlier, but you were talking about going through the mindset shifts to be able to confidently um, step away from this. I'm tired of the wigs and tired of all these things.
Yes.
What are your favorite mindset, I guess, like affirmations or words of wisdom that you like to come back to?
Well, I'm going to say words of wisdom because with affirmations, that's going to be, to me, it's individual for,
Yeah, for
as
sure.
far as what that person needs. So,
For
words
sure.
of wisdom would be the first thing, we can't worry about what people think. That's number one. We cannot worry about what people think. I know that may seem cliche, but it's the truth, especially when you're dealing with something with your appearance and people are going to see you. That's the number one thing that is going to come up. So shifting your mindset, not worrying about that, then also working on eliminating those negative emotions related to whatever you're going through. So even if it's not hair loss, it could be an amputation. It could be an accident you were in that caused, something or a disfiguration in your body or whatever that may be. Dealing with that for yourself, right? And getting, I don't want to say getting comfortable because of course, people probably, I don't know, would ever get comfortable with certain things, but being in a space to where you're good, with whatever has happened to you or for you, because I say that my hair loss happened for me. And it happened for me to be able to share and help other women, basically. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's my belief. Even though it sucked when I was
Mm-hmm.
going through it, that is my belief. So understanding that point, right? Like things happen in your life, but it could be for benefit. What is that benefit? Are you here to help other people? Did you experience this because you have a story to tell? So
Mm-hmm.
I would give those words of advice as well. Like keep your head up, do whatever it is you need to do, get the support you need to get from whomever you need to get it from so that you can be the best person that you can be.
Mm-hmm. I
So
love
yeah,
that.
that would be it.
So let's move into there are a couple questions I ask all my guests towards the end of our
Okay.
conversation. And the first question is, what does self-love mean to you?
Self love. Self love means waking up every day and being exactly who you are and loving that person for exactly who you are. Basically, like it does not matter. You are good with who you are, and you're standing in that confidently, and you're not wavering in that. I think that is self love.
Yes, I love that you said that because that also points to something that we did not explicitly say in this conversation, but I've noticed it pop up, and it's all about word popped out of my head people pleasing and perfectionism.
Yeah,
Like, we don't need to be, there is no, there's no perfect.
there is no perfect. You are perfect.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. You're perfect because
There's
you're
no
alive.
idea. Yeah, there's no specific thing that is perfect.
Yeah.
Everybody is perfect the way they are. You were created to be who you are, and that's perfect.
Yeah. And so when you can wake up and welcome whatever is alive for you today, whether you're grieving today or you are very happy today or whatever it is that's actually true for you. I love that what you
Yes,
said, that self-love
yes,
is about accepting that and embracing it. Very
yes,
beautiful.
definitely.
What makes you feel the most grounded?
I would say there's a couple things that come to mind at first.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm like doing my yoga and Pilates and I'm in the flow of that, oh, that's the awesome grounding experience for me. Also, taking time when I need to and just being quiet and doing whatever it is I need to do for me. So
Mm,
that could be, hey, today I'm not feeling it. I need to go get a cheeseburger to make me feel good. That's what I'm going to do, or and I'm going by myself and I'm going to sit in my car and turn the music on and I sit there and eat that cheeseburger and enjoy a shake with it, right?
mm-hmm.
Or it could be, I just need to go in my office and close the door and just write because I have too much on my mind and I just need to get it out. So let me just journal. Let me just
Mm-hmm.
journal and get it out. So
Mm-hmm.
it could be different for me. It depends on my mood. It could depends on what's happening, but something that regularly happens would be my yoga and Pilates. That is something where I'm like, okay, that gets
Mm,
me going. That gets me grounded and ready for the day.
mm. Is writing a book something you want to do or have done?
No,
No?
someone else asked me this too, and I'm like, no. Right at this point in time, I'm not going to say never. I don't like to say never. At this point in time, I'm not interested in writing a book. I do have a story, but I feel like I rather share my story like this with people on the
Yeah.
podcast or, YouTube videos, whatever it may be. I like to be in video format or, audio format. Me sitting down writing a book, I can just see it will take me forever
Yeah.
if I did that.
Yeah.
So at this point, no, I'm not interested to do, in doing that right now, but maybe in the future.
Yeah. Well, in conversation and video, we get to see that glow. Like we get to
Yeah.
like feel it. So,
I like the experience. I like to, like you just said, see people. I like for
mm-hmm.
them to see me because with what I'm talking about, I could be
That
anybody.
makes
I could
sense.
be sitting on this other side of a book with a full head of hair and, with all of these things, and you don't know who I am,
Yeah.
right? And totally fooling people to sell books. But when you see me, I'm a walking billboard for what I
That's
talk
funny.
about. I'm a
Yeah.
walking billboard for what I coach about, and all of the things. I need people to see me.
Mm-hmm. That makes total sense. Yeah. Okay, I have one more question and then I'll
Okay.
ask about where people can connect with you and find your work. And I like to do a dramatic pause before this question. Dramatic pause. What is your favorite part about being a woman?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Favorite part about being a woman. I feel like I've grown into an amazing woman. And I'm just thinking about like where I was at one point, and I'm like, the best part of being a woman at this point in my life, at this good old age of 44, is saying exactly what's on my mind and not being apologetic about it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not to say I'm being mean or anything like that, but really being, let me put it this way, having my voice. That's the best way for me to put it. I never used my voice the way I've used it now. I was always quiet. I wanted to be behind the scenes, never wanted to, be that socialite or any of that. I was always like that wallflower.
Mm,
I have my voice. That's the best part of being a woman, is having my voice, sharing that with people and uplifting people and knowing who I am and standing in that to be confident enough to do those things.
mm. I can so
Yeah.
relate to that.
Yeah.
I used to be like a mouse. I was so shy.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That was me too. Even
Yeah.
especially when I was younger. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah, yeah. But nope, not anymore. Not to say I'm not still reserved or quiet. I am still an introvert, but I'm definitely more open, definitely more like, here I
Hmm.
am. Here I
Yeah.
am. I'm showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I'm an introvert who loves people, so sometimes I get confused of like, am I an extroverted introvert? Like, is that a thing?
You could. I think it is a thing. Real. Like, I think there are introverts who have like strong extrovert qualities, but they're
Yeah.
still an introvert. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely a
But I
thing.
could not socialize all day. Like,
No.
I've been to conferences where like I've been there for 8 hours and then there's like a cocktail hour at the end and I'm like, I would love to stay, but I need to be alone. I need to leave.
Yep. I'm the same way. And I couldn't even say 8 hours. If they give me a break
Yeah.
in the middle of the day, I'm going to my room and like rejuvenating,
Yeah.
and then I'll come back out. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's serious.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, I feel like this is a whole different topic, but I think the journey of that is like really accepting yourself through that rather than being like, why can't I be more social? Like, I definitely had that internal battle with myself of
Yeah.
like shaming myself for like not
Mm-hmm.
being able to be on all the time
Mm-hmm.
and thinking
Mm-hmm.
something was wrong because I needed time alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trust me. I have felt the same way. I understand exactly what you mean. Like, why? Or either people thinking you're mean or you're a certain type of way
Yeah.
because you're quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though you're like, I'm just okay. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I'm just sitting here relaxing and chilling and enjoying.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's so liberating when you get older and you can speak your voice because you can be like, hey, I just need a moment to myself right now.
Yep.
Like, I'm good. I'm not mad. I just need 10 minutes alone. Like,
Being able to express that.
yeah.
Before I could not express
Yeah.
that because I didn't understand it.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
But as I got older, I was like, no, this is what
Yeah.
this is what it is. I just need some space for a second. Let me breathe.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. And when you do that and other people see you doing that, they're like, I get to do that. I can do that
Yeah.
too. Like, it just creates this like really great ripple effect, giving people
Yes.
permission to be themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's beautiful.
I've loved this conversation. And I would love to pass the mic to you to share all about where people can connect with you, and maybe share a little bit about your work, how people can work with you, and all of that stuff.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Well, again, my name is Kellie Rhymes. I am a women's hair loss support and authenticity coach. So, what does that mean? That means I do support women with hair loss, but I also support women in other ways. If there are any challenges you're having, negative self-talk, negative emotional issues coming up from experiences, all different types of things, I help women with that as well. So please understand that. And you can learn more about me on my website. My website is limitlessmindsetcoach.com. So www.limitlessmindsetcoach.com. I do have information about myself, and I also have a authenticity analysis that I give people. So what you
Mm.
do is you can go to my website, you can click on the freebies tab and just fill out the questionnaire, which is only a couple questions, and I will send you a video back with your results of your authenticity and further information and details about that. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check out my website. Click on the questionnaire, the authenticity questionnaire, fill it out, and I'll send you a video and we'll go from there.
All right, I'll put that in the show notes or caption. And I was reading a little bit about your about page on your website, and a question that I meant to ask you today. You mentioned in there something about really loving food and different cultures. And I would love to know like what's your favorite cuisine, or what are some of your favorite food dishes, because I also love food.
Yeah, so I'm a foodie.
Same.
I would, oh goodness, if I had to say favorite.
It's hard to pick
Okay,
favorite, right?
it is hard to pick favorites, but I can definitely say whenever I eat any kind of Mexican food, I have never gone wrong. Whatever I
Mm,
try, whatever it is, it's always a hit for me. So I'm going to
mm-hmm,
go with Mexican cuisine.
mm,
Even though I'm telling you, I eat a lot of different things.
yeah.
So, but I'm going with Mexican right now. And I do have like a little quirk. And I think I shared this with you when I sent my information to you. But I like salmon
The
skin. I like
salmon skin,
fried.
yes.
Yes. So I like fried salmon skin. Like that is one of my ultimate like things. So whenever we make salmon, right? I'll take the skin off. I'll put it in the air fryer, get it crispy, and they turn into like little chips. That makes my day. That's a
Sounds
completion.
so good.
And I know it sounds weird, but it's good.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if that's something they do in like the Mediterranean, perhaps.
I
Like,
don't know.
it has to exist somewhere.
Well, you know what? I was in Sprouts one day, the grocery store Sprouts.
Hmm.
And this was a while ago, but they were selling salmon skins. And there's a company online that sells bags of salmon skins, like chips. So it's a thing. I just don't know where it came from. I just discovered it and liked it.